Quilting. I'm Debbie Brown. In this episode, I get to make some decisions on how I'm going to quilt this block. I'm almost done with this sample piece so that I can go and finish the larger quilt. This is just a test, so every decision I'm making is not only for this quilt, but on a much larger quilt. I have done different thread colors, different thread weights, different machine quilting patterns in the border, in the outer border, around the pebbles, around those applique circles, around the spine, and I've also done the inner border. So all that's left is to figure out what to do in this block. That's how we're going to party tonight. But a party isn't a party without food, drink, and shoes. So tonight's food is a commercially made cinnamon roll because I really don't bake. Tonight's tea is from Harney Tea Company, Midsummer's Night Tea. It's a really nice floral Earl Grey. It's delicious. And I'm wearing some yummy Fluvog boots. Let's party. When I designed this block, my original plan for the quilting was to use this as a spine for a feather. So a feather going from the center out to here, and then to do a feathered wreath around this centered circle. Due to the small scale of the feathers in the border though, I think those large feathers wouldn't play nicely. So I'm going to try to make these same small feathers in the block now. What that might look like though is making a 1-inch border here for the outside edge of my feather, like I did in the border. And I would have to do the same thing on the inside here, because this should be 2 inches. Yeah, that's 2 inches. So I have feathers going around here. I'll do the same thing in here. So I'm going to stitch feathers from here out. I'm going to not stitch feathers here because I don't want to do feathers, 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 and it'll just line up. So I'm going to stitch a feathered wreath around this circle, and I'm going to stitch feathers around these outer circles like I did in the border. And I'm going to use that same lime green Invisifil thread in the needle. And I'm just going through my bucket here of threads I've used in this quilt. And a green bobbin of Deco Bob. It's a little bit thicker thread, but I use 80 weight bobbin thread for pretty much everything. Oh wait, here's the real one. So either of these colors would be fine with the lime green. One's a little brighter, one's a little duller. This one might actually even be a better match, so I'll change that out. And I'm going to come in and stitch around here and around here. Let me thread my machine and I'll be right back. So I'm going to get started in the center. I have a size 70 needle in to work with my 100 weight thread. I could use a 60 as well. Needle down, needle up, pull up that thin bobbin thread. And I'm going to take little teeny tiny stitches. Hold these threads out of the way until I stitch a bit. And make teeny tiny feathers. trim these threads out of the way. Couple small stitches, and there is my feathered wreath. Bring up that bobbin thread and trim it. And then I'm going to skip this next round, and I'm going to do feathers going around clockwise. And it doesn't really matter where I start, but I'll start in the middle of this outer feather. Getting some skip stitches here, so I am going to pick out 2 of those feathers and lower my foot. When your foot isn't as low as it should be, you can get extra skip stitches. Picking out all of these tiny stitches is really fun and really easy on the eyes. I might be kidding. So let's get started again with the foot being lower. Now that foot really feels too low. Let's get that up just a little bit. So the outside of the feathered square border of this inside this block is done. I'm going to now move over to the inside. I really like that to enhance the shape of the square. This is going to be really fun. The hardest thing now is going to be figuring out what to do in here and in this outer edge. But I have a whole week before I have to figure that out. I hope you enjoyed stitching feathers. Enjoy the rest of your Friday night party. Hi, I'm Debbie Brown with DebbieBrownQuilts.com. Machine quilting is my passion, and I love to show quilters how to use any thread on their home sewing machines. I have a 10-lesson course called Quilting Essentials: Thread, Needles, Batting, and Tension. Instead of accepting, my machine doesn't like this thread, take a class and learn to choose the right needle for your thread, adjust your tension to help you achieve the perfect stitch, use a different thread in the bobbin than in the needle, and use multiple battings in a quilt. Enroll now, work through the practice sample projects, and prove to yourself that your machine does like those formerly frustrating threads. See you in class.